Yeah, between like the kids stuff and like vacations, things we have. Yeah, basically skip off the whole year.
The head start and principals trying to cut the program.
Yeah.
And the state has.
It's not as far.
Every day.
It's a lot closer.
Catch up.
It's a lot closer.
It was,
Library.
Yeah.
Gardening.
So it's bad. It's like always over. Yeah. And it is like, you it's it gets really kind of like a real. Yeah, it's very strange how they're all.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
7.
Okay.
How
How do I look?
let me get on first.
Oh, I look, this is awesome.
I'm telling you, let me get a picture.
Like, I look good.
Just like the. Like,
It's the best
plants.
I think it
ever.
suits me.
It's gonna be our.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah. See if it falls off. It's pretty good.
Where did we go? What is it? Okay, Blakely. I want to see if the folks on Zoom can hear us, so. What did they say? They said
The
something?
chat, yeah, they said you can.
Okay, good.
Hey.
Okay,
Okay, good. Then do you want to have chat up so you can answer questions?
I'll have Chad over there and I'll relay them if you want
I
to do
need
it
you
that
to
way.
relay them.
So the
Yeah.
one thing that'll be good, you'll need to repeat any questions. If a question comes from the audience. if
Yes.
you could repeat
Yes.
that here and then
Yes.
answer it.
I can do that. Yes,
Okay.
I will do that. And I do have a demo, a little in-person demo to do. So I want to see if I can move the computer to be able to show it.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
I think that'll be fine.
Yep.
No, I think this is fine. Yeah.
Yes. Bailey Hoops says perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bailey Hoops.
Yeah, so I can copy.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that later, so it should be fine.
Play the share screen down here, that green button.
Yes.
And I'll give you the opportunity.
Thank you
to share
very much.
either
That's
a
helpful.
window or just like your full screen.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, good. Okay. Okie dokie.
Wait, it down.
All right, thanks. All right, yay.
I have my show and tell too.
Okie doke.
Okay,
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna find out either.
that's fine. Let me undo, so I'm not doing this. Okay. Is it on?
Mary, this is probably him, but he has a cap on, so he came back.
Well,
He didn't
that's-
get to, do you know?
That's, yeah.
Oh, okay, he's,
Okay.
on good terms.
All right, can people hear me? Can you hear me? Is it working? Is it working? Okay. What else? Okay. Welcome to our Austin Organic Gardeners Board, sorry. Austin Organic Gardeners monthly January meeting. Welcome, everyone. How's your gardens after the last freeze? Good? Do we have plant death? No?
The mic's out now.
Hello? What's it on? Very good here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
If I yell into
Go
it
really
like
close.
this. Any rate, so I want to welcome you with my bee wings. How do you like my bee? It's so fun, right? So let's have fun in 2025. Because this year, guess what? We are 80 years old this year. We were born in 1945. I know. And so let's try to have fun and be playful. And thanks everybody who helped when during Maker's Hour, make food and sort seeds and make a seed mandala. The seed mandala is still there if you want to make one. We have a lovely speaker tonight, and we also have an announcement. Erin, did you want to come say that? What else? So it's a brand new year. So there's a form online that I made to get more participation in Maker's Hour. So if you have a fun thing that you like to do, it doesn't have to be like, serious gardening thing. It can be just a fun thing you want to do and teach people. Please fill out the form and sign up, because we would love to have a cooking demo or a weaving demo or a beekeeping, anything you want to teach people that you're good at, that you think other people would find fun. Please sign up to be a demo person for Maker's Hour. And if you got the newsletter, it's on the newsletter, the link for it. And there's also a way to, I think on the website, probably it's there, right? No, it's not there. Oh, but it's also on the Facebook group. So if you're on that too, you can click on the link in the Facebook group. Is there anything else?
You have a show and tell,
I do have show tell.
but it's for later.
Yeah.
I'm too excited, sorry.
Do demo hour.
You
I
could.
could do several. I just got finished teaching a class on seed propagation.
Seed propagation.
That's why I'm
Perfect.
here. I love seeds. Apparently my name travels because I will introduce myself to somebody and they go,
This is Erin Hollis.
I'm Erin Hollis. I used to be very active with the Us Organic Gardeners, but then I got tired of propagating vegetables because they were too easy. So now I work on native seeds. And they're quite a different beast. I'm a couple of years in and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I'm actually here to promote the Central Texas Native Plant and Seed Rescue. Oh, sorry. I'm here to promote the Central Texas Native Plant Seed Rescue Program. It's a partnership with the Central Texas Seed Savers and between CAM, which is Central Austin Master Naturalist, and the Balcones Canyonlands Texas Master Naturalists. And anybody in the public who's interested, it's open to everybody. We have our own Facebook group. And I'm one of the leaders. We go to sites that are going to be plowed under for various reasons, and we dig up as many plants as we can. I being the seed guru, I tend to go when there's seeds ripe and collect seeds to share, to plant and to give to organizations like Seed Savers and Tree Folks. I've donated close to 25,000 seeds in the last year from various trees. So I'm here to promote that. So I'm going to have this binder over there. It's got this cool little QR code. If you're not wanting to type in to try to find it on Facebook, this takes you to our Facebook page. We post our rescue dates there. And like I said, anybody can come. You just click on the link to register for it and the location is sent to you. So you can join me and others. And we kind of have a 1-for-1 thing. So what you dig up, you can keep half. So if you're looking to diversify your gardens and add more natives for the pollinators and for drought tolerance and such, come dig stuff up for your garden, as well as the donations that we collect. Some of the priorities come to Zilker. We take stuff to the San Antonio Botanical Gardens if they're less common. And then we just have various schools and organizations in our area, the canyon preserves and stuff that take plants as well. So
And they have dates this weekend.
we do. We have dates at our site that we've been rescuing on in November and December. We've got 3 more dates this month before they start to plow out the rest of that area. And we're always looking for new opportunities as well. So if you know anybody that's got contacts,
Just to be clear, you
let us
guys are
know.
rescuing plants because the
do.
developers are coming in to get rid of it. So it's an urgent situation to get the
Yes.
plant.
The one we're at now is near Pennybacker Bridge, and they're gonna develop a business area and some apartments there. Fortunately, they're gonna make a big section green space, so we actually are gonna try to give them some of their plants back so they can put them back in the area. We did an area that's alongside 360. We've been in a park that they were redoing the dam, so had to bring in the heavy equipment, and they were gonna tear out a swath of land for that. So yeah, it was just all kinds of different places, and we just are looking for people who are interested in helping save some of our more
Local natives.
local natives that aren't in nurseries and stuff like that. But yeah, so thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Erin. Any other announcements? Anyone else? Please. Occultation of Mars, which is the moon's covering the side of Mars right now outside in the sky, but it's cloudy.
But it's too cloudy.
Yeah.
David, I think I just saw it, you're having it close to it. And
It was very close, about 2 minutes.
Okay, so I just wanted to show off some grain that I grew. This is some millet and some sorghum. So this was from those cover crops that we have been giving out. So you can get good grain. I just think these are awesome. My show and tell. So I just have a little quote from the seed. Go ahead. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so who here is visiting tonight? Who would like to say hi? Please do stand up and introduce yourself. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you. I was invited by Colleen. I am part of like the Texas Master Gardeners Association, and I'm a program manager for a intergenerational gardening program that's in the city. So I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful to see what you guys have to offer.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Anyone else like to say hi? That's new? Anybody? No? Well, thank you guys for coming and checking us out. So I just want to read a little thing. It's from a flyer over there called Seed Blessing Ceremony. And when you hold the seeds in your hand, you replete the blessing, beloved seeds, you renew and sustain life. Your ancient memory and vast potential are the magic needed to grow a forest, a garden, and a new beginning. Precious seeds through your trees, plants, food, and medicine are the source of our nourishment, vitality, and healing. We exist in the beauty of our lives because of you. We offer you our gratitude. And so now I'm going to introduce Colleen. And she's wearing a lovely crown of weed I found at the thrift store. Colleen is a certified arborist and the founder of Red Wheelbarrow Landscaping Consulting and Central Texas Seed Savers. She shares her extensive garden knowledge on the podcast, the Horticulturati.
You nailed it.
As well as the Saturday morning radio show on KLBJ AM. Horticulture Hangover. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you.
Second here.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Mary, for that nice introduction and for the crown, which I was shocked at how much I like it. Maybe going to my head a little bit. And yeah, for those of you on Zoom, you can get a real good look here. So okay, so I want to thank Janice for coming and Scott, who's hiding back there, for coming, because they're coming on behalf of Central Texas Seed Savers today to learn how to teach this class so that we can have more seed saving classes around Austin. So I'm so pleased that y'all came. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Aaron Hollis too for coming and talking about the, I haven't seen you in so long and I didn't know you were going to be here. I'm so happy to see you. So it's awesome. I'm so pleased that the Central Texas Plant Rescue Group is a part of Central Texas Seed Savers now. And it's such a cool partnership. And so speaking of partnerships, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit more about Central Texas Seed Savers, and then we're going to get to it. So here I am. Sharing. Okie doke. Let's move this out of the way. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm here today on behalf of Central Texas Seed Savers. And we have some events coming up. I'm going to run through some of this pretty quick so we can get to the meat of the presentation. But I wanted to let y'all know that I'm doing a little talk about the importance of seed saving, January 25th at the Manchac Road Library. We are getting invited to so many things. Central Texas Seed Savers, we're getting invited to so many things like this and seed swaps and all kinds of fun stuff that I'm looking for folks to volunteer to run seed swaps and help plan events. I'm going to start a event working group this year. So if you like going to seed swaps and you think you may want to run one, or you like planning events, please see me after the meeting so I can get your information. And they're super fun. It's a really good way to spend your time. So there's that, January 25th. We're having a fruit tree. We just launched a fruit tree program this fall. And our first bunch of fruit tree events are coming up. And there's two here on this slide. One is how to gather and store scion wood, which is the top of the tree that makes the fruit. It's called the scion. And so we're having one of our buddies, partners, Festival Beach Food Forest. We're going over there to cut some scions from their fruit trees. And then those scions will be at the fruit tree scion swap, which is in February. As you can see at Texas Keeper Cider. We've had that event before. And we had it, did we have it last year? I think we had it last year. I can't remember. And it's a lot, it's really fun. If you want to learn more about fruit trees, it's a good place to come and just chat with people and hang out. And so, okay, so that's enough of that. And then there's another one. Oh my God. There's another one. Saturday, March 1st, Windsor Park Library is having a seed swap. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there just doing a quick talk for like 15 minutes there about seed saving. So y'all are getting a little bit more in-depth stuff tonight, but the seed swaps are the best place to get seeds because you're getting seeds that other people have been successful with in their gardens. So you know that they're going to be good varieties and they're going to do well for the most part. So check out those fun events. And so now to Central Texas Seed Savers, we're entirely volunteer run. And we are a project of Fruitful Commons, which is a nonprofit organization here in Austin that sponsors these kinds of agriculture, food security projects, and they provide the administrative backbone for us, which is wonderful. It's a great organization. Yeah, yeah. Jody Lane is the ED at Fruitful Commons. It's awesome. It's an awesome organization. So check that out. And so we're an expanding network of people who love seeds. And we're encouraging preservation of seeds that are diverse, locally adapted, non-GMO, and in the public domain. In other words, not patented. And we're helping to prevent the extinction of plants that are important to Central Texans for all different kinds of reasons. There's a lot of seeds that do really well here in Austin, plants that do really well here in Central Texas that are not widely available to gardeners beyond maybe 1 or 2 seed companies carrying them. And so that puts us at risk of not being able to have access to those varieties if those seed companies decide to stop carrying those seeds or go out of business, or a catastrophic weather event hits their facility and they lose the seeds. So it's really important for us as Central Texans with our very unusual climate and challenging gardening conditions to share these seeds with one another directly. You know, and seed farming, there's not a lot of money in that either. So there's not a ton of people who want to keep seed farming. And so for these types of seeds that are important to home gardeners and native plant land restorers and stuff like that, like it's really important for us to be trading these seeds and sharing them with one another and saving them. So that's why I founded the organization. So we do all kinds of things. But for this group, for Austin Organic Gardeners, I'm talking mostly about vegetables tonight. And we have other programs that save tree seeds, that save native plant seeds, the Native Plant Rescue Group. So tonight I'm going to be focusing on vegetables for y'all, for Austin Organic Gardeners. And happy birthday, Austin Organic Gardeners. That's so cool. Isn't it the oldest gardening club in Austin? Is that true? Well, whoa, it's the oldest gardening or continuously running organic gardening group in the United States. Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. Happy birthday. So yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So we help support seed libraries all over Central Texas. We started the seed library in the downtown, the Central Library right over there, which is on the 6th floor in the northwest corner. So you can go to the library and take out seeds, and you can bring seeds back to the library. And after we started that seed library at the Central Library, it just exploded. And now there's seed libraries all over the place. And almost all of the branches have seed collections, and many of the suburban and exurban libraries have seed collections now. So it just really took off, and it's so cool. And if you want to start a seed library at your local library, just ask a librarian. And a lot of times the librarians want to do it. They just need help. And we're available to help you. So you can get in touch with us after you've asked the librarians. Okay. So, and we do seed swap events all over town, which is, you know, y'all are experiencing what a seed swap is like here tonight. So you, again, can bring seeds to the library. This is our little sign that we put on the seed libraries, encouraging people to bring seeds back to the library to make it sustainable. And we'll take any kinds of seeds, as long as they're legal to grow in Texas. Yeah, which makes you think of one thing, but you can't, also, in addition to hemp, you can't grow you can't grow cotton without a license. So we found that out. A very polite park ranger let us know that you can't grow cotton without a license because there was cotton in the library. So anyway, otherwise, everybody's welcome to bring whatever they want. But we don't want anything that's genetically modified, but there's not really genetically modified seeds available to home gardeners at this time. So that may change in the future. So there you go. And so we're going to talk more about that, about how to save seeds. Do y'all have any questions about the organization or about me or anything? Okay. Y'all should have gotten a handout that has my website for my business on it too. I'm a landscape consultant, so I help my customers by alleviating their anxieties about their yards. And that's what I do for a living, is give people advice about their yards. So if you need help, if you have a problem spot in the yard, that's what I do for a living. You can make an appointment with me online. Yes, Ethan.
Calculations for folks yet?
No, thank you. It's a cool idea. Yes, I do. Yeah, for my business, I do help people figure out some of the rebate programs for the city of Austin and stuff like that. So that's great. Yeah, thank you for asking, Ethan. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I have so many things to be.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes, thank you for reminding me. There are seed gatherings at the Central Library on the second Monday of every month. It's in the afternoon, isn't that right? It's at 3, yeah, to go and help pack the seeds from into little envelopes and write the names of the plants on the envelopes and put them into the seed library. Thank you so much for volunteering today. I really appreciate you, and for reminding me about the seed gatherings. Yeah, anything else, y'all? Mary? Mary wants everyone to know that the TOFGA, Texas Organic Farmers and Growers or Gardeners Association, is having their conference at the end of the month. Thanks, Ethan.
That it's going to be on the 28th, starting, and it'll go through the 26th through the 28th.
26th.
Tuesday in Pflugerville.
Oh.
And it'll be posted as the 32nd annual TOFGA conference. We'll have farm share and the opportunities to go visit farms in those local areas.
That's cool.
Including Christine Martin's garden. And others such as Green Gate Farms, they'll be having a farm tour as well.
Okay, so that's the 26th through the 28th for the TOFGA conference for everybody who's on Zoom. Are there any questions in the chat?
Just the last one, just to make sure the questions here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, y'all. That's great. Okay, so historically, folks have saved seeds, and now, post-World War II, the seeds became more of a commodity for large seed corporations. Prior to that, it was individuals, families, and certain geographical regions would save seeds and pass those seeds down in their community. And so over the last century, seed breeders kind of winnowed down the seeds that they have available and started selling. So there's less and less diversity available for gardeners in the things that they can grow. And I'm going to show you in a second. Basically, large-scale commercial agriculture has caused the extinction of a lot of varieties of plants that were valuable to small farmers and home gardeners because they were breeding plants for large-scale production. And so those large-scale producers want plants and vegetables that have certain characteristics. For example, a very long shelf life, right? But for home gardeners, a very long shelf life isn't that important, right? What are some things that y'all garden for? Like what do you look for when you're growing vegetables in your garden? Taste, right? The flavor, right? You want high germination rate. That's interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Lives through the summer. Yeah, because our summers are so brutal here, right? So anything else? Pest resistance, yeah, for sure, for the specific pests that happen here in Central Texas, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more too, because I brought a squash with me to share with y'all. So, so we have different interests in general from the larger scale vegetable producers, larger scale farms. And so it's important for us to share and trade, these seeds with each other because if we weren't growing them, they would go extinct, and many of them have gone extinct already. And some of the statistics out there are a little hinky. I think the thing is we don't really know how many varieties we've lost already because we didn't know how many varieties there were in the first place prior to World War II. But some of the statistics state that like we've lost 90% of the varieties that were available prior to World War II. And part of that too is just that a lot of people aren't gardening anymore. So we're losing this diversity. So here's the seed industry structure. This was from 2022. Since 2022, it's gotten even more consolidated, but this is who owns the seeds. And it's basically 3 major corporations that own most of the seeds in the world. But there's a lot that they don't own. So we're going to talk more about that. And they have a different motivation for growing food, right? They're trying to make a profit. And not all of these seeds are going to be profitable, but they're still valuable to us as home gardeners. So it's important for us to protect them. Okay, so here we go. I'm kind of flying through this stuff. So when we start talking about growing and saving seeds, we want to focus on growing plants whose seeds can be saved. So we're going to talk about that a little bit next. What time can I go till? 8:15? Okay, great. So here we go. Here's some of the benefits of saving seeds for yourself. Creates community. That's the big thing that surprised me the most about Central Texas Seed Savers is how many other people wanted to get together to talk about seeds and save seeds and share. And it's been so rewarding. So creating community has been huge and a surprise for me with doing this project. But this for me is the thing that is the most compelling reason to save seeds is the bottom reason. It gives you the opportunity to create and maintain plant varieties that do well in your region. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. It's about preventing extinction of these plants that do well here. Okay, so the kinds of seeds that can be saved in your home garden are known as open pollinated plants. So that's an important term for you all to learn. It means it's open pollinated. Okay, I'm going to talk more about that, don't worry. But that's your first little vocab word. And there's also a term that you may have heard, which is heirloom, the term heirloom. And most of the heirloom plants, all of the heirloom plants are going to be open pollinated. So generally, if someone refers to a plant as heirloom, that means that it is open pollinated. Okay, I'm going to review this a little bit here too. So an open pollinated plant is one that's pollinated or fertilized by insects, birds, or wind from other similar plant species growing in the vicinity. Okay, so if you have plants that are in the same species growing near each other, they're going to be able to pollinate each other and get together and make seeds. Okay, so everybody following it so far? Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible because it's a complicated, some complicated subjects that we're gonna talk about. So that's an open pollinated plant right there. Okay, so the heirloom plants are plants that have been that are open pollinated and their history spans at least 50 years. Okay. So here's where it gets a little tricky. Not all open pollinated plants are heirlooms, but all heirloom plants are open pollinated. Okay. And commercial seed packets will usually say if they're heirloom. Sometimes they'll say if they're open pollinated. It's not, you have to look for that. Okay. It's not always super clear when you're buying seeds. All right. That's another benefit of the seed swaps in general. Most of the plants that come into the seed swaps are going to be heirloom or open pollinated. Okay. So you can have a plant that's open pollinated that isn't an heirloom, but all of the heirloom crops are going to be open pollinated. Okay. So this is all going to make more sense in a minute. So I'm going to skip the landrace concept for right now because I don't have quite enough time. Basically, a landrace is a variety of vegetable that have been grown in the same place for a really, really long time and might take on certain characteristics that don't separate it from the variety completely, but make it really well adapted to your particular garden. So if you start saving seeds from your garden year after year after year, you're going to start honing the genetics so that those genes are really well adapted to your particular garden. And because you're going to be saving the seeds from the best plants every year, you're going to keep getting better and better plants as time goes on. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but that's what a landrace is. And the landrace gardening is super exciting and interesting and a real compelling reason to save seeds. Okay. So many of these seeds have been saved in seed banks and gene vaults across the globe. And here's they're in freezers. That's why this guy's all bundled up here. And Central Texas Seed Savers is working toward having a local seed bank here in Central Texas and a farm. And we're looking for a place for a seed bank and a farm. We're looking for 5 acres and a building that is climate controlled. So if y'all know anybody who's got 5 acres and a building that's climate controlled, that's what we need. And all we need, this is very elaborate, this like big freezer room. We don't need that. We need like a chest freezer, basically. It's fine. It's real low key. The Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center has a seed bank. Y'all may not be aware. They have a seed bank. It's basically one room where they process all the seeds and they have like a commercial grade freezer where they keep all the seeds. So it's very doable. And the idea for Central Texas Seed Savers is that we would be banking some of these seeds that are really important to Central Texas gardeners and then periodically growing out to refresh those seeds because the seeds age and they lose their ability to sprout as they get older and they're in storage. Okay, so we're heading in that direction for Central Texas Seed Savers, and it's really exciting. So you can save seeds from any mature, open pollinated plant. Okay, so now what you need to know in contrast to that are that there are seeds that if you save the seeds from those plants, when you grow those seeds, the hybrids, right? So if you save seeds from a hybrid plant and then you plant those seeds, the plant that grows from that seed is probably not going to look like the parent plant that you collected the seed from. Okay, so this is where people get a little bit tripped up with seed saving. So if you buy a seed packet and it says F1 on it or hybrid, that's what you want to look for. If you see that, then that means if you save the seeds from this plant and then you plant those seeds, they're not going to look like the parent seeds. Okay? And that's genetics. We're not going to get into why tonight because it's very confusing. But all you need to know is that if you save seeds from a hybrid or an F1, often it's called F1 hybrid, that means that those seeds are not going to come true to seed. That's the term. The term is true to seed. Okay, so open pollinated plants, they will come true to seed. Okay, does that make sense? Is everybody following me? So you can avoid, if you want to save your own seeds and you want those seeds to look like the parent plant and come true to seed, then you need to avoid saving seeds from hybrids. Okay, does that make sense, y'all? Yeah. Okay, any questions? No, everybody's with me? I can't believe it. Okay. Thanks, y'all. That's really good. So that's the idea. And the F1 hybrids are the result of mixing genes from two different varieties of plants. And I'm going to give you a little example. Okay. So when I used to have a job managing a community garden. And when I was doing that, I grew a type of melon called Tigger. Have y'all ever heard of Tigger melon? They're available through Seed Savers Exchange. And they're these little melons. They're like the size of maybe a softball. And they have orange and yellow stripes on the skin. And inside they're green, like a cantaloupe. And that's an heirloom type. Okay, so I grew those melons. And what I forgot was that nearby, I was also growing a plant called the mouse melon, which is a little tiny vine that produces little cucumbers that are about the size of a grape. Okay, so I thought that I was okay saving the seed from the Tigger melons because they were not grown near any other melons. Okay, so I saved the seeds from the Tigger melons and I expected to see melons the next summer that were about the size of a softball and they were yellow and orange stripe on the outside. But what I got instead was an oblong shaped melon, shaped just like an egg and about egg sized. And they were yellow and green striped on the outside. And on the inside, they tasted kind of like a cucumber and kind of like a melon. So I had accidentally created my own hybrid. Okay, and I didn't know between the mouse melon and the Tigger melon. And it was okay. They tasted good. I enjoyed eating them. They were fun to eat. The skin was thin like a cucumber. So you could actually eat the skin, but it tasted sort of like a melon. So it was really cool. So that was fine. It just wasn't what I expected. Okay. I expected the Tigger melons again. But it was fine. I was delighted, but that's an example of a hybrid that didn't come true to seed. Okay, so I don't want you all to feel scared of seed saving and that like you're going to do something wrong and something awful is going to happen. You can save the seeds and do the best you can to isolate them if you want them to come true to seed. Grow open pollinated varieties, try to isolate them from other plants that they're related to by not growing them, just growing one kind of melon, for example, or one type of squash. And that way they won't get mixed up. Or you can let them hybridize and just see what happens. And that's okay. If you collect seed from plants that may have hybridized, that is okay to share those seeds. Just write on the seed packet that it might have hybridized so that people will have some idea that may not come out exactly the way you thought it would. Okay. And it's okay. This is where people get scared of seed saving, and there's really nothing to be afraid of. We have a lot of seeds, and just starting out and experimenting and seeing what happens is better than doing nothing. And just trying to save seeds is so important. So just give it a try. And I really would recommend to y'all, if you're new to seed saving, just pick one crop in your garden to save seeds from this year. And say maybe it's a particular type of tomato that you really love. It tastes really good, or a radish that came in really early and didn't bolt as early as the other ones, or something like that. Like whatever characteristics you're going for, you can collect seeds from those plants. Just pick one crop from your garden this year, read up on it. There's tons of good books about seed saving, about how to do each crop, because each crop is a little bit different. And then take the seeds from the best plant. Okay, take the seeds from the best plant. And that way, you're getting the best genetics. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay, yes, question.
Back. If you're not stuck on having things grow through the seed, and you want to have a plant, grow plants that are really in your climate, your soil, it can be a benefit to really mix up the genetics from the get-go.
Yeah.
And start selecting what you want.
Yeah.
So much genetic diversity for disease resistance and all.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So he said, to go back to landrace gardening, there is a movement now. There's a group in Northern California called Going to Seed, where they're actually making hybrids kind of on purpose and honing their own land races by gathering up as many open pollinated seeds as they can for one crop and mixing them all up and growing them all together on purpose. And I think it's a really cool method, especially for folks who don't have access to local seeds that we know do well in this area, So I think that's really neat. There's a book called Landrace Gardening by do you remember his name? Joseph Lofthouse. That's right, Joseph Lofthouse. And I don't agree with everything in the book, but it's a really compelling way of saving seeds. It's pretty cool. So it's called Going to Seed, and it's a nonprofit. Yeah. So okay, so then we also can't save seeds from bioengineered plants. Bioengineered is the new term for what used to be called genetically modified organisms. And now the seed company and agribusiness PR and marketing folks have switched to using the term bioengineered. So that way, because GMO has such a bad connotation with it, so they're trying to like kind of, you know, keep up the illusion that it's all okay. So we cannot save seeds from bioengineered plants for a lot of reasons. One, because they're patented and they don't belong to us. And Central Texas Seed Savers believes that seeds ought to belong to all of us. They do belong to all of us, and that's wrong for people to be able to own food. So that's too much power for a profit-driven company. And here we are. That's what we're fighting against. And a lot of again, we don't really have access to bioengineered plants yet. We may, as home gardeners, start to see bioengineered seeds coming into the market. But so far that hasn't happened. They're really marketed just toward farmers and large scale farmers. But there are plants that are patented. In fact, a lot of the smaller seed companies do breed plants and get patents for them. And so you have to look and make sure if you buy seeds, look at the label, look at the packet, and make sure that the plant isn't patented before you share them. And you cannot save seeds from plants that are patented. Okay, so I just bought some seeds, or somebody gave me some seeds from Johnny's, which is, a really good, especially for organic growers, it's a good source, but they were patented. So I made sure that I'm going to make sure that I don't save seeds from them. Yeah.
When they say they're patented.
Yeah.
That sort of legally keeps you from doing anything.
Yeah.
With them, but
Yes.
if you save them, you can save them and plant them for yourself, can't you?
Isla asked if you buy seeds that are patented, that means you can't really, sell them, but you could save them and plant them for yourself, right? No, they want you to buy the seeds from them again. That's why they have the patent. Yeah.
I always wondered, how do they know? Like there's a plant.
Yeah. How do they know?
That is a variety, it's trailing Truenia, and they've patented just about every single one. But
Yeah. How do they know?
I mean,
They're not going to know. No, they're not going to know for home gardeners. It is enforced for people who are growers. So if you're a farm, you're going to have a license. Like I'm a landscaper. I have a floral license through Texas Department of Agriculture, and I get inspected. Like the inspector comes to my house to make sure I only have the plants that I'm supposed to have. Yeah. So, yeah, they'll inspect like growing operations like greenhouses and stuff like that. People who grow vegetable starts get inspected. So that's how, Isla. So I love where you're going with this, Isla. You're probably not going to get caught. As a home gardener, you're probably not going to get caught. No, they're not going to turn into a pumpkin or anything. Yeah, you're not going to go to prison for, yeah. All right, so here we go. This is more about GMOs. So here's a little bit about propagating open pollinated plants. This has a lot of vocab in it that, if you really get into seed saving, you can get into that. I don't know what these mean. Basically, the major takeaway from this class is collect seed from open pollinated plants. Okay. Try to avoid collecting seed from hybrids because you don't know what you're going to get when you plant them again the next year. And bring seeds to the library and start saving seeds. Pick one crop and the best plant from that crop to save the seeds from. So yeah, do you have a question, Ethan?
Recommend for having seeds from their local farmers market produce and being able to save them that way.
That's a cool idea.
Would you recommend central
Ethan asked, would you recommend, saving seeds from vegetables that you bought at the farmer's market or that you bought at the grocery store? And yes, we won't know if they're patented or not. And again, you're probably not going to get caught as a home gardener, you know, but yeah, I know lots of people who have done that, and I've done that myself too. The thing that you won't know is if it's a hybrid or not, and if it's been hybridized in the field. So you won't know if they've crossed, you know. So this year I got a squash from Wheatsville. It was I don't know how to pronounce it, kabocha squash, Japanese type, and it was so delicious. I could barely stand it. So I saved the seeds from it, and I really, really hoped that they were going to come true to seed. And I planted those seeds this fall, and they did not come true to seed. They made like little weird little gourds. So it was disappointing. So, you know, you just don't know, but when you get it. Yeah, so it was some kind of either the plant that the farmer planted was an F1 hybrid, and then the genes, you know, didn't come true to seed that way, or the plant that the farmer planted was open pollinated and it crossed with something else nearby. And then the seeds that I got were crossed and didn't come out true to seed. Yeah.
I've had terrible results trying to save squashes and pumpkins
Yeah.
with the native Texas forward.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So saving squash seed can be really challenging because there are native gourds that grow wild. There's a bunch of them. I've been learning more about them because I'm a little bit obsessed with the cucurbits. I really love the cucurbit family, all of the squashes and melons and gourds and stuff. And so yeah, they can cross with the wild plants and then make it so that it doesn't come true to seed. So that can be hard sometimes. And you just have to try it and see what happens and do the best you can, you know. There's some plants that are really easy to start with. So here we are talking a little bit more about cross-pollination, which is what happened. Cross-pollination is like what happened. We're talking about the gourds crossing with the squash, and then it doesn't come true to seed. So that's something that's important to remember, is that if you do get cross-pollination, that doesn't mean that your fruit from this year will be affected. In the case of squash, okay? That's not true for corn, but I am not going to get into corn at all. Corn is really confusing. So, but there are a lot of plants in our vegetable gardens that are really easy to save seed from because they don't cross very easily. Like beans. Beans are a really good place to start for seed saving. They're usually self-fertile, which means the flowers, they don't really open up very much, and the flowers tend to just pollinate themselves. Sometimes they get visited by bees, but not always. And so it's really easy to start saving seeds from beans. So if you've never saved seeds before, beans are a really good one to start with. There's certain plants where it's really easy because they don't cross-pollinate as readily. So, like I said, just pick one and go with it this year. Okay, so here's an example of how you can breed your own vegetables. This is, you know, making sure that they're cross-pollinating. So like if you really get into it and you really want to control it, here's an example from tomatoes. These are tomato flowers. And what you can do is really deliberately get, you know, a flower from one tomato plant from the variety that you want to save, and then make sure the pollen gets on a flower from the same variety so that they don't cross-pollinate. Okay. And then you can put a little ribbon around the stem on the plant so that you'll remember that those are the ones that you deliberately pollinated, and then save seeds from those fruits. Does that make sense? So it's a little thing. So I did that with the squash that I'm going to show you next. I deliberately pollinated, didn't cross-pollinate. I deliberately pollinated. I took a flower from one plant of the same variety, and I rubbed the pollen onto the female flower of the same variety on a different plant. And put a ribbon around it so that I would remember that that's the one that I know did not cross. So that's basically one way to overcome the problem with the squash cross-pollinating with the wild gourds, is to kind of like purposely help this process along and then tie a ribbon so that you remember that that particular fruit is going to have the seeds in it that have not been cross-pollinated. Does that make sense? Yeah.
This flower, the future flower protected, like in a bag, in the tool bag?
Yeah.
So it doesn't get caught in fleas out there?
Yes. You can, yes, if you're really into it, you can try to protect the flower with like a paper bag or a tool bag, fabric bag over it so that the bees don't come before or after you've already done the pollinating yourself. So I didn't do that in this case. It felt a little, I'm not that attentive for it. Don't forget, y'all, this is supposed to be fun. So here it is. Yeah. So here's a picture of it with the tying a ribbon around the plant so that you'll remember that that's the one. And here's the picture with the bag around the flowers, just to make sure, you know, that's the real right way to do it. That's yeah. I tied ribbons around 2 squashes. Yeah, I tied ribbons around 2 squashes this fall, and that's it. That's all I did this year. Yeah, so and I'm going to show you that squash in 1 second. So there you go. There's, you know, like I said, there's things to think about if you're doing corn. Corn is real complicated. I don't recommend it for first time seed saver, but other vegetables, like I said, just pick one crop this year and save the seeds from one of those plants and research that particular crop. And now we're coming up on 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna to go to my demo here and get into what to do after the seeds are ready to harvest. Okay. So here's how to collect the seeds. So, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to move the computer down over here. So y'all. Bear with me for 1 sec. Zoomies, you're coming with me. Okay, here we go. So here I've got, take this off so I don't hit it on the thing. Can the people over Zoom hear me without the microphone? Okay. Are there any other questions before I get going? Thank you, Mary. Okay, any other questions? Are there any questions in the chat? Everybody with me? Okay, all right, y'all. So, this is a variety of squash called tatume, and it was domesticated here in Texas by Native Americans. And it starts out really small on the vine. The fruit starts out small on the vine, and you can harvest it and eat it as a summer squash, like a zucchini. And then as it grows and gets bigger, it starts to get harder skin on the outside, like a winter squash, more like a pumpkin. Okay, so it kind of goes from summer squash to winter squash on the same plant if you leave the fruit on the plant longer. And this is a fruit because it has seeds inside of it. That's what a fruit is. Okay, even though culinarily we would think of it as a vegetable, it's botanically a fruit because it has seeds. All right, so this is the tatume squash. Now I grow tatume squash because it's so vigorous that if it gets powdery mildew, it doesn't care. It just keeps growing. Grows really, really fast. They get squash vine borers, but the squash vine borers don't kill the vines. The vines are real fibrous and hard, and they just keep growing. They sprawl out along the ground, so they take up quite a bit of space. So they're not the best for small gardens, but you could grow them up on a trellis in a small garden. And with the squash vine borers too, if the squash vine borer damage gets real bad, like if you have a real bad infestation, the stems of this squash will reroot themselves like as the plant grows. So this is a good way to get around squash vine borers, and they are delicious. I've been enjoying these so much this fall. I planted them on Labor Day. And I got a lot of fruit right around Thanksgiving. So it's good timing with like Thanksgiving cooking. So delicious both ways. Yes, and they're not hard inside. They're only hard on the outside. So he asked if they're delicious as a summer squash or a winter squash, and I say both. When you cut it open, I'm going to cut it open. I'll show you. So here it is. As they mature, they're always green. As they mature, they start to turn orange. So this one's starting to turn orange. So thank you, Mary. You read my mind. Okay, so let's see if I can do this without like injuring myself. So I'm going to cut it open, and you can see inside it's white like a zucchini, and it's still like a zucchini inside, like a summer squash inside to eat, and you can cook it that way. And I can't remember if we peeled it or not when we cooked them. They're melt in your mouth, delicious. So to save the seeds for everybody on Zoom, here you can see the inside. All you have to do is scoop it out, just like when you do a jack-o'-lantern at Halloween. You know, you scoop out the seeds. And then usually what I do is I scoop them into a bowl like this. And then I'll fill the bowl with water, and then the water helps kind of separate the seeds from the stringy part. Okay. It does kind of look like a melon now, doesn't it? I mean, they're all related, you know, they're all in the cucurbit family. If I were independently wealthy, I would have a cucumber squash melon farm. That would be my job with fruit trees and herbs. It would be great. So here's the seeds, and I'm kind of separating the seeds. Like I said, if I were in my kitchen, this bowl would be full of water, and it helps separate the stringy part from the seeds. It's okay for these purposes of our class. Thank you. So basically you want to try to get as much of the stringy stuff off as you can. And then let me move these out of the way for everybody. Then all you have to do is take the seeds and lay them out on a towel and spread them out so that they're in just one layer like this, pretty much. And then just leave them out like overnight. And if you can have, and do it indoors where it's climate controlled, a place that's climate controlled is important. And let them sit overnight so that they get nice and dry. And you don't have to get every single little bit of stuff off of them, the stringy stuff off of them. It's okay. Again, it's supposed to be fun. So you can put a ceiling fan on, like if you have a ceiling fan in the room, you can put that on to help dry them. Just making sure they're really dry is the most important thing for seed collection, for collecting them. You don't want to store anything that has moisture on it, because then they'll get moldy.
So do you need to wash them or can they just be in the juices?
In this case, Mary asked if you have to wash them or if they can be in the juices dried. In this case with squash, it is okay for them to be in the juices if you don't wash them. It's okay. With tomatoes, some people say that with tomatoes, they have to have all of the pulp removed from them in order for them to sprout, but it is not entirely true. And I think actually in my presentation, there's a picture of little baby tomato plants busting out of a tomato fruit. So I know Louise, who volunteers with us, who put together the presentation for us, she doesn't wash the tomato seeds or let them ferment or anything like that. She doesn't do any of that process. And she says she still has good germination rates. I bet it depends on the certain varieties too. Yes, Isla.
Somebody at Sunshine went to HEB, bought cherry tomatoes, cut them in half and planted them, and they grew very nicely.
The group. It's awesome. Isla said that somebody at Sunshine Community Gardens went to HEB, bought cherry tomatoes, cut them open, and then planted the whole tomato fruit, and then it grew. Yeah, yeah. So the tomatoes, that I believe, because the tomatoes, they have to ferment. They have to like partially decompose before they'll sprout. So if you have like that jelly that's on the inside of the tomato and that's still attached to the seed at all and dried on there, and it didn't go through a fermentation process, it can inhibit the seed from sprouting. But if you take a plant, if you take a tomato fruit like that and you just stick it in the ground, it's gonna ferment and break down in the ground. Yeah, because they have to be able to do that in nature. Wild tomatoes are gonna be sprouting like that. So yeah, okay. So that's the Tatume squash for y'all. And then so once they've dried, once they're all dried out, you can pack them into envelopes if you're like Erin and you love packing. I am not like Erin. I do not love packing, and I will just put my seeds into paper bags and then take them to the seed swap and take them to the library, and the wonderful volunteers at the seed gatherings pack them. And we don't want to have any roadblocks for anybody sharing seeds, and sometimes that kind of cleaning, sorting, labeling. Yeah, Erin brought more bulk seeds to share. Yeah, it can become addictive. So it's really fun. Yeah, some people really love seed packing. I'm not one of them. I find it real tedious, but I love seed saving and sharing. So I really appreciate the people that love seed packing. But we don't want to have any roadblocks for anybody sharing seeds. And since there are people who love packing, then it's no problem for you to bring bulk seeds to the library or to bring bulk seeds to the seed swaps and then just packing a little at a time. But here's a good example of a little seed envelope. And I brought some Tatume seeds. These were purchased. These are not from my garden, but these are from Wilhite Seed, which is a Texas seed company. And you just pack a few in the envelope. And then the most important thing that's really crucial is to label the envelope. Okay, this is key. So it's Tatume squash. And I know that this didn't hybridize, right? Because I did that whole pollination thing with the flowers, putting the flowers together. And this is, the date is really important. So the date is really important so that we know how old the seeds are in the seed library, and so that people receiving the seeds know how old they are, because as they age, they will lose their ability to sprout. And the older the seed is, the less likely it is to germinate. So I have gotten seeds that were like 10 years old from people before and planted them. And I just make sure if I were gonna plant 3 seeds in one spot, I'll just plant 5 seeds instead or 6 seeds instead and just see if any of them come up, you know, and I usually have too many seeds anyway. So, and I usually still get stuff to sprout even if they're old. So it works out okay, but it's important to give people that information. So the name of the plant and the year, is the bare minimum information that we need. And then if you want to write anything else about the history of the plant, how you grew it, where you're located, anything like that, everybody loves getting more and more info too. And you can do that as well. So any other questions? We're coming up. Yes, they can go in the book drop. Yeah, if you can get them in the book drop, depends what kind of book drop they have at the library. But most of the circulation desks will know if you come in and if you come in, which was like a bag or a box or something, just make sure it's sealed up really good so they don't get seeds all over the place, especially if there might be like moths in there and stuff that they don't want on the books. Like seal everything up real good and write for the seed collection on the box and you'll be all set. And most of the people working at the circulation desks know about the seed libraries and they'll be surprised and delighted. So yeah, feel free and to bring seeds to the library. It's really helpful. Bring seeds to the library. So I want to show you one more thing real quick. When you're storing seeds at home, you want to store them in an airtight, not quite airtight, but pretty well sealed box so that, you know, bugs can't get in there. And I really like these kinds of boxes that are made for like office supplies and stuff like that. But you can use, my mom always used mason jars and like old mayonnaise jars and stuff like that and just shoved them in there. But I am such a seed fanatic that I need more space. So I'm going to show everyone on Zoom this. And then I like this box too because it can fit number 10 envelopes in here. So my number 10 envelopes have like the category of plants and then I got the individual packets inside. So that's the deal. Oh yeah. Herbs. And then here's basil. Somebody gave me at a seed swap, labeled. And that's the skinny on seed saving at 8:15. I think we did okay. Any other questions for anybody? Yes, Mary.
I was very influenced by the movie Vonda Shiva. Have you seen that?
The Seeds of
Yeah.
Vandana Shiva.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I just watched it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so force of nature in India,
Yeah.
keeping the GMO or the ancient seeds alive from the farmers, the rice farmers there, and fighting GMOs all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really great. There's a lot of really good information available, including that movie called The Seeds of Vandana Shiva. And Seed Savers Exchange is another really great organization with really good videos and information about how to save seeds. And we have a lot of links on the Central Texas Seed Savers website too about how to save seeds. So there's lots of books and a lot more books coming out too, and that will help you on your journey with seed saving. Yeah. Ethan, you had your hand up. Do you have something else?
Find the difference between ancient grains, land race grains, and wild grains, or is that something you have to test independently?
Ethan asked if I can explain the difference between ancient grains, landrace grains, and wild grains. And I don't have enough experience with growing grains to know for sure, but I appreciate your question. And I think it's probably sometimes the only way to know is through genetic testing. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's semantics as well. So If you're interested in fruit trees, I get into that a lot more in some of my fruit tree classes. I do know about that with fruit trees, but I don't know about it for greens. So yeah, thanks y'all. Thank you so much. Anything else? Awesome. Okay, thank you so much.
I'm sure that probably eat up the rest of the food. There's also, some things available on the table here, some cover crop seeds, tuber, they have a bunch of what's in the box. What's in the box?
Just do you mind if I look at the squash?
Not at all.
Just,
Yeah.
I'm interested because you said it's native to. Mexico.
Yes. Yeah, it was domesticated here. Yeah. Yeah, please come get
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yes.
if you got it.
Yes, absolutely. Here. Yeah.
Does it taste
Hey.
good raw?
Can't remember if I ever tried it raw. I think so. What do you think?
It's strong. Well, not super strong. I do it, but.
Yeah.
Like not good.
Yeah.
How did you like your crown hat?
Thank you very much. It's so fun.
I was
I
thinking
love
of
it.
making some more. I just made one.
Well, it's good.
Oh, here it is.